Well, let's go from New York to Paris. Why not? Here's a look. You remember that. That's the Louvre, the big pyramid. And it's welcoming back visitors as France begins to ease pandemic restrictions and gradually reopen. More than 20 million people in France have now received at least one dose, and almost 9 million are fully vaccinated. CBC's Tessa Arcilia is on the story live from Brussels. And Tessa, a number of European countries are beginning to reopen. The EU has agreed to new travel rules as well. What are those rules, by the way?
Indeed, Suhana. So there is this mood of easing restrictions and really wanting to be ready for the summer, which is just around the corner. So today, EU ambassadors did back that proposal to ease restrictions and allow fully vaccinated people back into the bloc. Now, the vaccinated people should have received one of the vaccines approved by the European Medicines Agency, and that would mean they could, travel. It could mean we could welcome back travelers from Canada and the United States, for example. Now, this is just one of the things that they want to put on the table. The other being they want to ease the criteria and expand that list of so-called safe countries from which non-essential travel is allowed. Right now, that list is so short. So, Hannah, the criteria is the infection rate should be below 25 per 100,000 in a 14-day period. So they're thinking of extending that, increasing that to 75 to 100 per 100,000. That would mean a lot more countries basically on that so-called safe list. But of course, there is still that worry of these so-called variants of concern. So there will be an emergency brake mechanism that they will put in place should they need to do so. But the big news really is that fully vaccinated people could be allowed into the EU, and therefore summer travel is possible. And that would possibly mean also that quarantining will no longer be necessary. But we have to wait for the details when EU heads of state give that final approval when they meet next week. Suhana?
And as we watch here in Canada, watch the French sit on cafes and go to galleries partially reopen anyway. What else are we going to see there today?
Indeed. I mean, it is a strange sight to see people packed on the streets, especially in Paris, when life, the Parisian life that we have come to know, is coming back to normal. So you have cafes, bars, restaurants allowed to have their outdoor dining service back today. The French President Emmanuel Macron making a point of having his morning coffee at one of those cafes. And the French finance minister said today it is, a return to normalcy and a return to happiness, he said. We also saw people lining up in front of the Louvre. So you have the Mona Lisa. She's no longer going to be alone. She will have her first visitors in months. And also curfews have been extended from 7 to 9 p.m. So essentially, Suhana, France is just joining the other European countries that have eased restrictions in the last couple of weeks. And we know that the Dutch fans, for example, music fans, are getting ready for the Eurovision Song Contest if all these restrictions are indeed lifted. Suhana.
We'll be living vicariously through you, Tessa. That's CBC's Tessa Arcilia in Brussels.